Okay, welcome back to the BooMan show. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus, and I really can't explain why. I mean, I literally can't explain why, but when I've come back a few times to shoot the second part of what's to be the two-part of addressing some criticisms about the show. All I can say is when I was talking into the camera, it didn't seem as natural as the other shows. So what I thought, to get back on the horse, I'm just going to start freestyling, or I don't know what you call it, where you you start talking into the camera and hope the thoughts fall together. But where I was, where we left off was I was addressing the fact that and since then I've heard that the term is called trolling or troll bait, if that's what these videos are, and I would say no, but I see how it can get misconstrued. There's a kid on here whose name is on the internet, not on my show, but on the internet, who his name's Copper Cab, and he yells at the just like he's talking to the camera like I'm doing to you now, but he's walking around with it and he's yelling at it and he's raising hell, and people say that that's troll bait because he knows everybody's going to have a negative reaction to him, and the things that he's saying at the time are bullshit. Like the last one I watched was he's talking about pot smoking, and then he's saying marijuana's not natural, and he says all this stuff, and it's really funny. Actually, I enjoyed the video, and I can see, I hope that he is troll baiting and doesn't believe what he's saying, but I just point to him as a reference. And if that's Copper Cab. If you haven't heard of him, just go to YouTube, or you're probably already on YouTube. Go to the search engine, type Copper Cab, and one of his most recent is on pot smoking, and it is pretty funny, but he's acting very upset, and he does that, I think, in all of his videos. I've just seen a handful of them, and that's what I think he's doing. I believe he's just acting, and he doesn't believe what he's saying. And just to draw a contrast, that is not what my intention is here. I do believe what I'm saying. I'm adding, so far I'm adding to the prepper community, but it wasn't my intention when I started this series to just be addressing the preppers, or what I've been doing is adding enhancements to what they've already suggested, and they're coming across as being silly, but these are, everything that I'm saying is what you would do on top of taking care of your beans, bullets, and band-aids. You get your food, and it's starting to feel like I'm over returning this and returning this and returning this, and that was another reason I took a break from the video, is because I just felt like I'm stuck in a sand trap of going back and going over the same points again and again and again. But if you're just turning in, like I said, I'm offering enhancements to things that other preppers are giving you, things that you probably wouldn't pay much thought to. And that being said, my first address to the criticisms, and after this part 1 and 2, this being part 2, I'm just going to move on and just keep doing my thing and refer that people comment as they have been. I'm going to refer them to this. Episode 9 is the one before this, where I address why I suggested the slip and slide, and this is episode 10, where I'm addressing smart meat, the concept of smart meat, which in short is just human beings. And what I had said was, when everybody rushes into the stores and starts taking the bread and milk off the shelf, what's that going to last? A week at the most? I say, make a beeline to the spice shelf, because you're going to need that to make it, long story short, human meat more palatable. But in between that, and that the meat issue is the other one people are citing that I'm trolling. In this case, it might be literally a troll if you're eating human flesh, like this is an arm, literally trolling. But what we're doing is we're jumping from get the spices to making human meat more palatable, but we're missing the whole where you would get from point A to point B. And there's a whole bunch of, well, those two letters are right beside each other in the alphabet. So I guess it'd be better to say from point A to Z, and we're missing the whole alphabet in between. And that is, you're going to use those spices to cook up like squirrel or rat or whatever you got to do. You want to get that garlic salt, you want to get that lemon pepper, and really, and that meat grinder that I talked about before. Because whatever you get, if you get a rat, you not want to serve your kid like a rat on a stick. I mean, it's pretty disgusting. Why does that's the whole point of the video, is why does the world without rule of law have to be so heinous? Like you just picture the rat on the stick, or whatever, possum, whatever. You could make that. You could easily get all the meat out of there, even leave some questionable stuff in there, like fat and some liver or something like that. Grind it up, put the proper spices in, feed it to your kids as tacos or spaghetti meat, with the tomato sauce on there. I'm gonna be the wiser. Why put them through unnecessary torture? Like, well, when I was a kid, we ate rat and we didn't complain about it. Well, no, you didn't eat rat. You grew up in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, and we basically had it pretty easy, but we're paying for it right now with the shit hitting the fan right now. So, and then I pepper in some humor, and that was a sad attempt at it right there, where I'm talking about, well, we ate rat when we were a kid. Obviously, I know nobody's saying that to their kids. So that's the difference of the humor. Now, a few of my friends have called me and written me emails and saying, "Oh, I watched your videos. They're hilarious." And thank you for, by the way, if you're watching this one, I appreciate that. I don't mean to be snarky. That's not what this place is about. I want to keep it as positive as possible. But what I meant by that was not everything is meant to be hilarious. I mean, I feel like I'm putting some good information out there, and I'm peppering it in with. That was a forced example about the rat. We didn't eat rats when I was a kid. That was just so I can point to see. That's to make you laugh. That's to make the subject matter more palatable, just like the food being more palatable. A little parallel there. But the essence of what I'm saying is, I'm saying, if you can't afford, I mean, you're coming late to the prepper party and you can't afford dried beef or whatever they're all storing in these 5-gallon sealable jugs, etc., then you need to start thinking about how you're going to improvise for food. And I'm really getting at, as we're closing in on winter, if you haven't stored away dried beans and rice and all of that good stuff, because that's when you're gonna, you might have to eat, when they say you're gonna have to eat crow, when the shit hits the fan. They may be talking about me, like I'm making fun of, well, you're gonna eat crow when the shit hits the fan. Well, I might have to eat crow, and if I do, I have put my money where my mouth is, and I bought a pretty good amount of spices. I went to Sam's and I got like a big thing of chili powder and some garlic salt, and they're lightweight. So, I'm late to the prepper party, but I've got probably like a knapsack of spices that are going to last me for as long as I can catch something and eat it, be it frog legs, crawdads, birds, what have you, possum, dogs that people have, people are going to let their pets go because they can't feed them, let alone themselves. There's going to be a lot of pets out there, and we laugh at Koreans. And we laugh about that now. Koreans say, "Oh, you have dog food, mystery meat." Oh, we'll be glad for some mystery meat. and on top of those spices, whatever vegetation I can find. But again, that's where we were approaching point Z from point A. Now on the opposite end of the spectrum, point Z is going to be winter. Winter setting in, and there's less and less animals to eat. Because you have to realize, and I've made this point before, you're not going to be the only one who's hunting or scavenging for food. Everybody who didn't prep is going to be out there who's not dead yet in whatever the initial wave of whatever disaster happens. And my gut feeling is it's going to be the collapse of the dollar. I don't believe in things like the zombie apocalypse. Oh, and while I'm freestyling and thinking of things like that, the reason I believe that we're seeing so many zombie movies is to condition you or the police or our military into seeing your neighbors and civilians as mindless zombies. So to numb you to the human experience of shooting a fellow American, because we tend to think of, in war movies, we're shooting Japanese if it's World War II, or Vietnam movies, it's an enemy that doesn't speak our language. But now what we're coming up on, the quote-unquote enemy, is going to be like, stop shooting me, please, blah, blah, blah. And I sort of feel like when I'm talking about this that we're all on the same page, but I come to think of it, if you're not on the same page, you may be raising an eyebrow like, okay, now this guy's, now the BooMan's lost it, he's gone off on a tangent. Well, tangent. Well, there's videos on the internet of them training police officers, and then they have those flip out targets, and it used to be the bad guys, and they had the cap and the black mask in their eyes and their striped shirt, and they're shooting at you, and you shoot them, and then when the pregnant lady comes out, you're not supposed to shoot them. It's testing your reflexes. Well, now they have actual photographs of people, so it's not like a cartoon like that in the first place. In the second place, it's pictures of like a pregnant woman. Now she's got a gun, and that is, if you're laughing right now, that is not bullshit. And then they just have regular civilians. One's like he's got an injured arm, and he's got a gun. But I guess the first thing you would see when it flashes, that you'd see the major bandage, and your initial reaction would be, well, don't shoot him, he's injured already. But why are they doing that? That's a real thing. And you've probably seen these armored police vehicles that have like 2 inches of steel and bulletproof glass, and they're for domestic reasons. And somebody wrote that they justified that because that's going to be down on the border where we're having all the trouble with the drug smugglers. But those vehicles can be deployed anywhere in the United States. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but all that goes back to conditioning you or the military to see you as a non-human being, and the media is helping them with the movies and things like that, and all this talk about a so-called zombie apocalypse. So when the shit hits the fan, the dollar collapses, and hordes of people are attacking the police because they're starving, I think they're going to make that mental, they're trying to instill in the police and the military, dehumanize the people they're holding back like they do at these protests, and then they click in this mind, zombies, and then and when it's all over, they're going to have a lot of remorse and all. I don't think they're all psychopaths, but that is what they're doing, and I don't know how we got there. I was on my way to point Z, which is the winter, when there's not going to be a lot of plant vegetation around, little if any, and barely any food. I guess the fellow zombies are out there zombies are scurrying for food too, and you're going to need to make it that food palpable, or here's what we're getting at. Point Z is eating fellow human beings. Z for zombie. Once you get there, where you've eaten all the birds, possums, raccoons, lizards, etc., no vegetation, and it gets time to eat another human being or die, then again, like the whole point of the whole series, why does it have to be such a nasty event? I mean, you can make it that way, or you can have the proper seasonings and make it, even if you're not going to eat it yourself, you can prepare a nice aromatic, nice smelling human dish to feed your families, which hopefully will survive you. And I'm going to leave it off there, and I'll come back with another video later. Thank you.
Oh, you know that he's, yeah, you know that he's the one they call